Aloha, New Hope Volunteers. Pastor Gavin here. Have you ever heard the saying that it's easy to have the heart of a servant until you are treated like one? I remember once shopping with my dad, and someone walked up to him and asked him a question, mistaking him for someone who worked there at the store. And my dad helped him and pointed him in the right direction. And then I asked my dad, why didn't you just tell him that you didn't work here? And my dad said, it was just as easy to give them the answer that they were looking for. Well, in the book of Luke, chapter 9, verse 48, it says, "Then he said to them, whoever welcomes this little child in my name welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me welcomes the one who sent me. For it is the one who is the least among you all who is the greatest." Now, in Jesus' time, they were under Roman occupation in Judea. And there were centurions there. Centurions would be about the equivalent of somewhere between a modern day company commander and battalion commander. And they would have about 100 soldiers. But they would also have military control over a province. So they would control over the civilians in the area also. They had a lot of power. Now, there were a few centurions that we read about in the New Testament. And the first came up to Jesus and asked for his servant to be healed. And he was known as one who showed great kindness to the Jews, including building them a synagogue. Now, this centurion told Jesus, "I am not worthy for you to come into my home. Just say the word so that my servant may be healed." This centurion humbled himself before Jesus, who was a Jew and someone who was really under his authority. But he was willing to come under the spiritual authority of Jesus Christ. Now, some say that this centurion that was in Galilee was the same centurion 10 years later in Caesarea that the Holy Spirit sent Peter to go and see. And he was the first Gentile to receive the baptism of the Holy Spirit. And that was Cornelius. Now, we don't know for sure if this centurion that was in the Gospels was also the centurion in Acts, but many people believe so, because we know that the centurion in the book of Acts, Cornelius, was also a godly man. And when we read about him in the book of Acts, he also was a very humble man. He actually tried to bow down to Peter. The second centurion that we read about in the Gospels was the one who witnessed the crucifixion of Jesus. And when he saw the way that he died, he said, "This was truly the Son of God." Now, he's commonly known as Longinus. We don't know for sure if that was his name, but what we do know is that by witnessing what happened to Jesus, he became a believer. Now, the last centurion that we hear about is Julius, and he was the one who was charged with delivering Paul from Judea to Rome. And if you remember the crew of the ship, they wanted to kill the prisoners. But he yielded his authority to the wisdom of a godly man who was Paul. So what does it mean to be the least? If 4 or maybe 3 Roman centurions can humble themselves before the Lord, can we do the same? And when we're out in the community, can we help others even when we don't have to? So let's learn how to love each other more. Let's learn how to serve with pure hearts like little children. And let's learn to come before the Lord in humility. Thank you for taking this time, New Hope Volunteers. We really appreciate you. And if you come to weekend services, come say hi in the connection lobby. I hope to see you then. God bless you.